Hi everyone, my name is Peter and thanks for joining me at Amplified Warm-Ups. I want to talk about some new things that I'm trying with my trumpet players. I get to work with a lot of trumpet players, and so we get a really good sense of what's working for students and what's not. Found some new things that's really changing things for my trumpet players this year, and I'm really excited about. So we have some different things at our disposal as trumpet instructors to develop the embouchure, produce the sound. And so I want to talk about each one of those methods. What are the strengths and limitations of each one? And then I want to talk about the thing that's really kind of tying them all together and making everything click for our students this year. So first of all, let's talk about lip buzzing. You don't need any other equipment. It's just so it's great. You can do it anytime, any place. One of the things that I like to use that for is if we're assessing beginner band students, trying to figure out if trumpet's going to be a natural fit for them. It's a good sign if they can do that, the trumpet is going to work for them. The other advantage to that is that everything is completely visible, so you can see exactly what's going on with the embouchure and often know what to do. The limitations of lip buzzing, I think, is it's too easy to do it the wrong way. And usually what that looks like is too much tension in the middle. And you'll see students who have been told, buzz your lips, and they take that a little bit too literally, and they try to make all the sound happen right here, and they'll just do just way too much tension. And so it's easy to do it the wrong way. I think it is revealing to us as instructors what this can show us, especially if students are letting their lips turn out when they're playing. And so you see them doing only getting low notes. And so we can give the instruction based on what we see from their lip buzzing. But as far as teaching students the right way to play trumpet, it's probably not going to be super helpful. You can take a trumpet player who's doing it the wrong way, send them away for a week and say, just do a lot of lip buzzing. They're going to come back and not necessarily be doing it the right way. So it's not going to be particularly helpful in that way. Next, we want to talk about mouthpiece buzzing, which is probably the most widely used method. And mouthpiece buzzing has some great strengths. It's still very portable. You can do it almost anywhere. A lot of places that you can't practice the full trumpet, you can still mouthpiece buzz. It's great for working on a consistent response and keeping a nice flexible middle part of the embouchure. Okay. It's also great for ear training and learning to focus pitches. A lot of times I will take a line that we're trying to learn and I'll play it on my trumpet, have students play along in their mouthpiece, and they get a feel for what they need to do to get those pitches centered, and makes it a lot easier when they go back to the trumpet. One limitation of mouthpiece buzzing is that it's easy, or it's not necessarily easy, but it's possible to get a really good result without doing everything the right way. And specifically, I know from my own experience, I did not have good firm corners in my embouchure for a long time, and I was still able to get a good response from my mouthpiece, but it let me get away with kind of sloppy corners, and so it's not going to necessarily firm up that part of your embouchure. Overall, I think it's probably about average at revealing what a student is doing, and it's about average for teaching them the right way to learn to set the trumpet embouchure, although it's way above average for learning to focus and center pitches. That's a really great use for mouthpiece buzzing. Next, I want to talk about something that I never did when I was a student, but I've come to rely on it quite a bit as an instructor, and that's playing on the lead pipe without the mouthpiece. There's some things that are going on here that if a student is doing that the right way, they're going to get good firm corners and relaxed middle. It's almost impossible to get a sound out of the lead pipe without both of those things happening, and nothing locks down my corners like playing on the lead pipe. So I think this is a really valuable tool. It's also great for helping set the proper aperture size, the proper opening for trumpets, especially if they're trying to get higher notes and they're struggling to do that. If you have students take off the mouthpiece, play on the lead pipe, they're often going to be able to play higher notes on the lead pipe than they can on the assembled trumpet, because my theory is that they're setting their opening for the size of the full mouthpiece, and what they should really be setting their aperture for is the size of the lead pipe. So you can get them to do that, try to transfer that same set when they put the trumpet back together, and that can help them to get into some higher notes. The bonus to working on the lead pipe is that as you work lower in the range, and that is the more challenging aspect of it, as you work lower, students begin to set the proper amount of space between their teeth, which we're going to talk about a lot more in a moment. Limitations of lead pipe playing is you're going to find about 20 to 30% of your students are going to struggle to make a sound on this. And when they do, it's kind of hard to get them to press on because either they don't see a connection between this and real life trumpet playing, or they just find this so uncomfortable, they're not really willing to press on. And it is not the most comfortable thing to do. It's kind of a sharp edge. It just doesn't feel real great. So your students are going to get a little bit irritable after a certain point if you ask them to do too much. But if you can do this, it's really going to help to train their embouchures. This has cleaned up a lot of embouchure issues for us over the years. And so I highly recommend that you add this to what you do in teaching your trumpet students. It can also show us and reveal if students are carrying too much tension here. That can often be something that we can help students with, knowing that information. I would say with all three of these, another benefit is if you add tonguing technique, if you add some tonguing exercises to what you're doing, either on the lips, the mouthpiece, or the lead pipe, it can really help students learn proper tonguing technique. Because if they're using a tonguing approach that's too heavy and is bumping the lips, it's going to interrupt the response on any one of these methods, and it's going to be really clear that they've got to do something different. They've got to lighten up. They've got to be a little bit more easygoing about how they're going about their tonguing, because it won't let them get away with a heavy tonguing approach. So I would encourage you to add that into what you're doing. Now let's talk about the thing that's really making a difference, and I'm not sure what this is called. It's something that I've used in the past, but for whatever reason, it's just really kind of clicking for us and our students this year. So we're going to turn the mouthpiece around, kind of wipe off the shank, because this is going to go in between our teeth. And then we wrap our lips around it, blow, and then pull. So like this. So I don't know what this is called. I've kind of been calling it mouthpiece pulling. Maybe there's a real word for it. Or anyway, the great thing about this is it sets the proper amount of space between the teeth. And I've been telling students for a long time, get more space between your teeth. But this helps them to actually feel how much they need. And when they do that, the lips come together in the right way. And almost every student can do a good lip buzz after doing this. It can even fix double buzzing. I've found that it is working on that. But it really also opens up student sounds because it's opening up the amount of space between their teeth. Limitations of this, it still won't address other potential causes of a tight constricted sound, which would be like throat tension, wrong tongue level in the mouth. But this has been really, really cool. It almost kind of magically like forms the trumpet embouchure for students and teaches them exactly the right way to do it. So I've been using this a lot with them. It's also very revealing of something that we haven't talked about that's a huge part of producing sound on the trumpet, and that is using a good amount of air. I found students who will blow just a little bit, and then when they go to pull it, like, just kind of stops, like, and that shows me they need to use a lot more air. And so I'll have them just work on blowing air through it. I'll tell them blow like you're trying to blow the mouthpiece out of your mouth. And then keep that same airstream when you pull it. And that really clearly shows them how much air they should be using to support their sound. And since they have enough space between their teeth, there's nothing blocking the air getting through, so they can get more air through it. And it's just been really helpful. And also, once they've learned how to set the space between their teeth, all I need to do is just give them a visual reminder later on. Like they may be doing their band warm-up, and I'll just kind of look at different sections of the brass and just get that space between your teeth. You can also do that to flute, because that's really important for them as well. But getting that space between their teeth has really been important for developing the tone quality in our band. Incidentally, I do have some really good warm-ups available if you want to check those out at amplifiedwarmups.com. They're going to make your life as a band director so much easier, and they're really great at developing your bands. There's a place where you can sign up to get a free download of a sample warm-up, so I would encourage you to check that out. But what I'd like you to do now is just try this with your students. Come back to this video if you would, and leave a comment and let me know how it's going with your students. I'm eager to know if this has the same kind of magical results for you and your students as it's had for ours. We're getting much bigger trumpet sounds than we've ever had before, and I'm excited about it. So we're going to keep working with this technique. So anyway, at this point, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.